Call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And the mighty Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, Lord willing that they continue to endure and be sincere. And the mighty Shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth in the same Spirit, Lord willing that y'all all continue to endure and be sincere. And Shalom to the Akwatim that are believers of his faith and his truth, Lord willing that they continue to pursue their lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing to most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. You know, this is a part 2 of take extra oil while still time left, you know. So I'm about to just hop right into it. Let's bring this back. Let's go to Matthew, the 25th chapter, in verse 1 to 4 in the NLT. It says, "Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 bridesmaids who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. The 5 who were foolish didn't take enough olive oil for their lamps, but the other 5 were wise enough to take along extra oil." You know, you want to take extra oil, which is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and to give you details even more of how knowledge increase more, where we can go back into the root of the language. Hebrew, Greek, Latin, right? You get the concordance, the interlinear, the etymology of words, because a word can mean something else in the Greek, and it can mean something else in Hebrew than it is in English. The Lord is allowing us on this side to increase our understanding on this side so that we can have complete understanding, especially if we're teaching his word and feeding his sheep, because we are a spiritual house unto the Lord. Now, this was this last precept that I was reading in my live before I cut it off. And I'm going to read this verse in the Amplified Bible. The second is Ephesians chapter 5 in verse 32. It says, "This mystery of 2 becoming 1 is great, but I'm speaking with reference to the relationship of Hamashiach and the church." Right, let's read it real quick in the NLT, verse 32. "This is the great mystery, but it is an illustration of the way Hamashiach and the church are one." Because through the Spirit, we're one with the Lord, right? St. John 15, "If you abide in me, I abide in you." But then when Yahweh Shai come and deliver us from our enemies, we're going to physically be one with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, just like Yahweh Shai, and the Rakakwadash are one, right? We're going to be connected like Wi-Fi. We're going to be fully connected to the Heavenly Father. But just like how in Acts 16, or is it 15? I think it's 15, 16. Let's see. Okay, Acts 15, 16, starting at verse 15. I started at 14. It says, Simeon, which is Peter, had declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophet, as it is written, "After this I will return and will rebuild again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up." Right? And through the Spirit, the Lord is rebuilding the tabernacles of David through the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And when he comes, we're going to be physically be built up, starting with the glorified body, right? And then establish our position and rulership, right? And this is this spiritual house, right? Let's go to First Peter chapter 2 and verse 4 and 5 in the KJV. It says, to whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious. Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Yahushua Hamashiach. Right? We're lively stones, talking about the elect. Really going into how the Lord built this church under the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the teachers, the pastors, right? This is how the Lord is building his house. And this is a spiritual house, which is a holy priesthood under the order of Melchizedek, under Yahushua, which will all be kings and priests, right? This is not under the Levitical priesthood or in the kingdom, right? It's under Melchizedek, under the order of Hamashiach Yahushua, right? And that to offer up a spiritual sacrifice acceptable to God by Yahushua Hamashiach, right? Because Yahushua placed us in this position. Our sacrifice is ourself. Romans 12 and 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Yahushua in 1 Corinthians 1 and 24, he is the wisdom and the power of the Heavenly Father Yahweh. So Yahushua is giving us the Rakak Wadash, St. John 14, 15, 16, and is teaching us all things, right? And we're like being symbolic to Yahushua, right? Literally, it's like younger brothers or brothers trying to be like their older brother or like their other brother that is a role model. We're trying to be like Yahushua. In the men of the Lord, teaching, being diligent, having no guile, teaching 100% truth of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, they're coming in the spirit of Yahushua, right? Because Yahushua is dwelling within the men of the Lord, right? Let me get another one. This is Hebrews 13, verse 15, 16. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifices, God is well pleased, right? And that major sacrifice is us laying ourselves down. The things that we do, is just symbolic to Yahushua. Right? Again, it all leads to Yahushua, right? For St. John 15, what greater love than a friend or a brother lay down his life for his friends? And Yahushua did that for us. And on this side, we're doing that for the elect's sake. I endure all things for the elect's sake, right? You got another one in Sirach 33 and 17, Sirach 24, I believe, 33, I believe, where it says, actually, let me just get it. Let me not butcher it. Let me just get one of them. I'll get the Sirach. Ecclesiastes 24 and verse 34, not 33. It says, behold, that I have not labored for myself only, but for all them that seek wisdom. So this labor is another example of you laying yourself down like a living sacrifice, and you're doing it for the elect's sake, right? We work every day to get that fighting chance, to get that crown. Every day I try to imagine this all being over and being with the Lord, and it is exciting more, but we got more steps, right? This is why we should be taking that extra oil while we can, This is Revelations, the 19th chapter, verse 8. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. Right? And that fine linen is that spiritual garment, technically, that we're going to be putting on. Right? That wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right? When you go to Daniel 12 and 10. But before I even hop to that, let's go to Psalms 45 and verse 13. It says, the king's daughter is all glorious within. Her clothing is of wrought gold. Right? She shall be brought into the king in raiment of needlework. The virgins, her companions that follow her, shall be brought unto thee. With gladness and rejoicing shall they be brought. They shall enter into the king's palace. Right? And I was just using verse 13 as an example because you got to know that the Lamb's bride is a woman, right? Which is really Israel, which is the elect on this side. They're a woman. And if they're Yahushai's wife, they are Yahushai's daughter, right? And Yahweh is decking his daughter with gold, right? And on this side, you know, this daughter is going to be tried, right? But with this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we become beautiful, right? Let's get this Daniel the 12th chapter in verse 10. It says, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Right? And a lot of us are going to be purified and made white when we go up with Yahushai. But in other cases, some of us on this earth, which some of us, truly believe that, just like in the time of the book of Acts, brothers was moving through the spirit, healing people just with their shadow, or saying the name of the Lord, healing people. Paul was getting bit by a venomous snake and didn't get poisoned. Right? It's things that we're going to do. Like Yahushua said, we're going to do greater things than what he did, right? And Lord willing, we of that number, so that when that time comes, that we is able to do those miraculous things, right? I want to be called one of those ones that were wise, not one that's wicked, because the wicked shall do wickedly, and they not going to understand. And that goes back to the five foolish. The five foolish is the wicked. And the five wise is the elect on the side, especially when we're splitting the 2/3 and the 1/3. Right? So let's go to Matthew 25 and verse 3. In the KJV it says, they that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. And we read in the NLT, they didn't take enough olive oil, right? They didn't take enough olive oil. KJV, it says they took no oil. In the NLT, it says they ain't even take enough. You got two examples, right? You got some that's not even taking no oil, which is a lot of you people in the world. And then you got some that didn't even take enough, which is some that said that they in this truth. 1 Peter 4 and 17, right? Judgment is going to happen in the house of God first, which is the ones that so-called calling themselves Hebrew Israelite. Like that dude that just came out and just said he not a Hebrew Israelite no more, right? He called himself a Hebrew Israelite, but didn't know what he really signed up for. He didn't take enough olive oil. He didn't get that extra olive oil. People get so offensive on this side, but this truth is supposed to be unattractive. If it was for everybody, don't you know more people would be in this? No, it's supposed to be unattractive so that it can only gravitate to the few. Look at the time of Noah. If this was mad attractive, it would be more people on that boat. Didn't happen. If this was more attractive, when Abraham was trying to intercede or plead with the angel, if you see 50 righteous, would you not destroy? Then guess what? 50 people, the whole place would have not got destroyed if this was attractive. If this was attractive, the Pharisees would have never crucified Yahushua. This truth is going. This is the raw, ugly truth. You know. So now, let's go to Matthew 23, and let's read verse 25 and 26. In the KJV it says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye may clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto white sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead man's bones, and of all uncleanness." That goes back to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, with the dead bones. The Pharisees and Sadducees, the ones that didn't hearken to Yahushua, to the actual 100% truth at that time, right? They're dead. And we're in a time where it's still dead people in this thing, right? You got some people that come in this faith and they're somewhat half dead, because if they decide to leave, right, or if they don't believe that they got to grow and they just want to, it's just only law, right? They're still dead. Because if each day we're living and it's only about law, right, or if it's just only about being a so-called Christian, Christianity been here so long, the Lord still haven't came, right? It's way bigger than that. Again, you should be getting extra oil while you can, right? People want crumbs on this side, right? Where all of this is a gift, you know? And when we get gifts, like, you know, when we was in the world doing Christmas, or somebody just bought you a toy, or just in genuine, like somebody just got you something, you're going to use it. I get something, I'm going to use it. So the things that the Lord have given us, these are gifts. We should be using it, right? I'm thinking about this other one. Lord willing, I got it right. I could be wrong. Ephesians. Okay, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8. "For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourself, it is the gift of God." In the NLT, God saved you by his grace when you believed. And you can't take credit for this. It is a gift from God, right? It is a gift from God. Yo, this whole thing is a gift from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? Let me see something. Let me see if this is the one I want. This is a gift. Okay, that's not the one I really wanted. But it's okay. It might come back to me. Let's go to 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 5 in the NLT. It says, "They will act religious, but they will reject the power that could make them godly. Stay away from people like this," right? And that be niggas that's part of the fools, the ones that didn't take enough oil, right? Those are the fools, right? And they're, through the Spirit, they're rejecting the power that could make them godly. To reject is not to get enough. right? To reject is you being lazy, not doing enough, right? Because I try to look at myself a lot and other things, outside the truth. A lot of us try to give it our all. A lot of us give it our all to make sure we not late for work. You try to give it your all. Do you pay your rent on time? Yes. Do you pay your car note on time? Yes. Do you pay your insurance on time? Yes. Right? So on and so on. You can say that you pay this and you do this on time and you do that right. But a lot of y'all is not giving your full effort to Yahweh Shem Yahushai to the best of your ability. Some of y'all just doing an ability when you do have time to give it your best ability. Some people are comfortable because of their name is known throughout this the truth, right? Or basically being popular, or they're an elder, or I've been in this thing for 15 years, and then they start slacking. I know elders that have been in this thing for 30, 40 years, right? And still doing more than somebody that been in here for 20 years, right? They doubling up like they just got in this thing, right? It's not about the video, but you'll see a brother do 17 videos in 1 week, maybe 5 videos in 1 day. He probably got off and he did like some short, quick, edifying videos, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and they edifying. What is drawing that person? Because he don't reject the power. He understands that this is bigger than himself. He understands that, you know what? If I do this lesson, it's not only for me. Somebody else is having a hard time with this. Somebody else that don't understand this, I'm about to go do this lesson. That is a wise man that's taking extra oil and then using it and then planting and watering seeds. So hoping that Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai will make it grow into something beautiful, right? Let's get this real quick. Revelations chapter 3, verse 15 to 17. In the KJV it says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So I would wish if you were either one, cold or hot. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wrecked and miserable and poor and blind and nakedness. Yo, even the Pharisees thought that they was good because they was in the top position. People respected them. They was dressed well off. Some people are distracted by the things on this side, and they think that the Lord is fully blessing them, so they don't have to get that extra oil, right? That's why some brothers is okay with being warm. You should want to be on fire. A fire, what's his name? Cyclops. If he opened up his eyes, the laser beams came out unless he had shades on. Through our mouths, a fervent man, especially of the faith, is speaking about the Lord. Let alone not just only speaking, he is teaching, feeding the sheep some type of way, right? Because if this world is still going, that means there's still some sheep that's fully not developed in this faith, right? Feeding is a very main source of our spiritual protein, right? We need that spiritual protein from this food that we're getting, right? So back to Matthew 25 and 4, in the KJV it says, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps, right? And we already know in the NLT it says that the wise, they took along extra oil, right? They took extra oil. Let's get Psalms 45 and verse 7. Just like the 10 talents. The one dude had 10 talents. He doubled those 10 talents and brought in 20. Right? Then the Lord let him be the head of 10 cities, or a leader of 10 cities. This is Psalms 45 verse 7, the KJV. Thou lovest righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore God, thy power, have anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. Right? Wait, let's read it in the NLT. This thing smacking in the NLT. Salaki, verse 7. It says, you love justice and hate evil. Therefore, God, your power, has anointed you, pouring out the oil of joy on you more than on anyone else. And that's the wise. The Lord is pouring more oil on the wise than anybody else. Anybody else, man. That's why the elect they're predestined to get this, man, because they got that oil on them. That just made me think of something. I believe it's Psalms 23. Yes, Psalms 23 verse 5. It says, I'll read the KJV and the NLT. It says, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. In the NLT, it says, you prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. And that's what the elect getting on this side. Before Yahushai, the more you understand, the more you taking it serious, that right there is a blessing. How do you think the Lord feel that you truly believe in him? Right? You might slip and you just go ahead and talk to the Lord. Oh, I gotta take accountability. Lord, man, I'm just weak in this flesh. And then you find yourself the next day doing a lesson again. You know? It's times where I slipped and the Lord still allow me to read, still allow me to have a taste for this a month after, a year after, and I'm still in this. Gotta take accountability for my actions, the way that I think. I gotta take accountability that I'm in a veiled, weak body. And the Lord is a mastermind, right? The Lord is really pouring oil on the wise and pouring more oil on the wise than he doing anybody else. That's why they're going to get salvation on this side, right? Let's go to this Romans, the 8th chapter, in verse 9, in the NLT. This is what it reads. It says, but you are not controlled by your sinful nature. You are controlled by the Spirit. If you have the Spirit of the living God in you, which is really the elect that got the Spirit of God in them, right? 1 Corinthians 2, 10 and 11, because it's all different types of spirits, right? And different gifts of the Spirit, but it's all the same. Well, you'll be able to know the deep things. The Spirit is going to teach you the deep things, man. It says, and remember that those who do not have the Spirit of Hamashiach living in them do not belong to him at all. So if you don't got the Spirit of Hamashiach in you, right, you are not of him at all. At all. Now this is one prime example, Revelations 19 and 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushai. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy. Right? That's the spirit of Hamashiach Yahushai, prophecy. And those wise men, that's why I keep saying, they're not just only going into the law, or let me cut a Christian, let me cut the Trinity. They want to teach everything, right? We want to tear down all the strongholds, right? I'm about to find that real quick. It's in Corinthians. 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. I think I want to read it in the NLT. Is this one it? Yeah. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4 in the NLT. We use God's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, which is his word. Ephesians 6 and 17. Right? Our spiritual sword, which is the word, right? Not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. We destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing God. We capture their rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Hamashiach. Right? Paul, he was always teaching to bring people to Hamashiach. To bring to Hamashiach is to bring somebody in obedience under Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So we got to break down those strongholds, right? And that's somebody that's in the spirit, right? When somebody bringing out prophecies, right? That's the spirit. But you bringing out the correct prophecy is breaking down, is cutting and shredding the strongholds of falsehood, man. False teaching, right? Let's go to this one. 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 22. I'm going to read the KJV and the NLT. It says, in the KJV, it says, who have also sealed us and give us the earnest of the Spirit in our hearts, in our mind. In the NLT, he has, let me start at verse 21, and it is God who enabled us. But then you got 1 Timothy 1 and 12, when Paul said, the Lord enabled me in the ministry because he found me faithful, right? 21, it says, it is God who enabled us along with you to stand firm for Hamashiach. He has commissioned us and he has identified us as his own by placing the Ruach HaKodesh in our hearts as the first installment that guarantees everything he has promised to us. Right? The Ruach HaKodesh is the first installment. That is fire, man. You know, when you get a game, some of us got games where you installing the game. You get a computer, you're installing a program and it got to load. The Lord is installing in the Ruach HaKodesh. Just like when you come in this faith, it's levels to it. You keep growing. First you in you're in preschool, elementary, then high school, then college, and you in the big majors, right? This is the Ruach HaKodesh is the first installment. That's only a little taste. He's gonna give us more when he returns, man. That is fire, bro. He said his own by placing the Ruach HaKodesh in our hearts as the first installment. The heart is the mind. So the Ruach HaKodesh is in your mind, right? Of course, the spirit itself is a body technically, but the spirit dwells in the mind where your thoughts is at. Your thoughts, right? The spirit is where your thoughts is at. As the first installment that guarantees everything he has promised. That right there is so amazing, man. Yahweh Shema Shai has everything planned for us, and the Ruach HaKodesh is the first installment. What happened when Yahweh Shai gave up the ghost? When he left, the Ruach HaKodesh fell on the apostles. They started speaking different tongues, right? The book of Acts, the apostles is making actions, right? Because they were wise. Outside of Judas, they were wise. They had extra olive oil. Peter got extra olive oil. First, he had to deny Yahweh Shai, and he came back stronger in the faith. Right? Sorry, y'all. I'm just a little excited. This is 1 John 2 and 20 in the KJV. It says, but ye have unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. How? Because the Ruach HaKodesh, what was given to us through the name of Hamashiach Yahushai, and it taught us all things. Right? Now, it taught us all things. I want to get this verse real quick. It taught us all things. Let me drop down to 27. Because I'm going to expound on that. But let me read this. In the KJV it says, verse 27, but the anointing which ye have received from him abideth in you, and ye need not that any man teach you, but as the same anointing teacheth you of all things, and is truth, and is no lie. And even as it have taught you, ye shall abide in him. Right now, when it said that any man teach you, wait, ye need not that any man teach you. When you go back, when you go to 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19 to 21, that this is not of any private interpretation. Every man that was writing this or speaking this was moved by the divine power, moved by the Ruach HaKodesh, right? So a normal man can't teach us anything, can't guide us to anything, but a man of the Lord will. That's why the Ruach HaKodesh, where it says, even in Corinthians, where it says, the prophet, the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. Isn't a prophet a man? Yes, but he's a man of God. So he's moved with the Ruach HaKodesh. And the Ruach HaKodesh through him is teaching you. It's like the Matrix, right? Morpheus was in the Matrix. But slowly but surely he was trying to teach Neo, but it was always within Neo. He just had to feed him. And then he became what he came. Then you got Jada Pinkett and so on and so on, right? We got teachers in this thing that's moved through the Ruach HaKodesh, that's guiding you, sharpening you up. What he says in Proverbs, iron sharpen iron. We supposed to be sharpening our inward countenance, right? Through the spirit, man. So I want to get this side one and then I'll close. This is Jude 1, chapter 1, verse 19. In the KJV it says, let me read verse 18. It says, how that they told you there should be mockers in the last time. You should walk after their who should walk after their own ungodly lusts. These be they who separate themselves in sensual, having not the spirit, right? And that goes back to Matthew 25, right? Matthew 25 is going to be people. Matthew 25 verse 3, the ones that the foolish that didn't have enough oil, right? They're walking after their own ungodly lusts, right? These are the people who separate themselves sensational or sensual, having not the spirit. The ones that are foolish do not have the Ruach HaKodesh. It's some that's walking in this truth, right? I always say so-called truth because they're so-called in the truth. This is literally the truth. So I'm gonna try to correct it better by just saying in this truth is people that are faking the funk, right? But they truly don't have the spirit. But they're in this truth. They're calling themselves that they're in the truth. They're saying they Hebrew Israelite. They might say the Lord name. They might teach in the Lord name or they might not, but they know somewhat of the truth. Some of them do not have the Ruach HaKodesh. Some of them are not in the spirit of Yahushua, because a lot of them is not being occupied or dabbling into prophecies, right? And it's just because the Lord chose who he chose to dabble in those prophecies, right? So Lord willing, this is edifying and straight to the point. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKodesh. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same spirit. Shalom to the Akwat Yom. Lord willing that you continue to pursue your lot, being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. Lord willing to most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. Again, take extra oil while it is still time left. The time is almost up. The mercy door, the grace door, that grace period is about to shut. And you're going to be a coulda, woulda, shoulda, took. And with that, shalom, above.